You got a new book out.
Yep.
Okay. So, I mean, you've been around for a very long time, you know, being one of the founders of Southern hip hop. Why did you decide at this point to put a book out?
Well, I think it was important to put a book out right now because, you know, people just don't know my history, you know, and people don't know that I'm the one who created Southern hip hop. They don't know I went to the Supreme Court for hip hop. They don't know I was the first person to have a record banned, deemed obscene by a federal judge. And if I did not fight and win that case, then rappers right now today wouldn't be able to say the things that they say on the record without going to jail or getting their record taken off the shelf. And people just need to know that, you know, I revolutionized the game of hip hop as well as music from the standpoint of artists wanting to own their own record labels. You know, when I first did this, all the other artists were about being on their own, happy about being on another person's label. You know, and once I started doing the music, had my own label, you know, everybody else pretty much piggybacked off what I did. So, you know, the story has never been told. You know, BET, MTV, none of these people of the world ain't planning on telling the story no time soon. There's 25 years in the game. You know, I've been in the business or more, and it hasn't been told. So I think it's the perfect time right now.
I agree. So let's talk about the beginning part. So you are actually the first person in the South to start a hip hop label. Is that accurate?
Yes, that is.
Okay, so what made you suddenly come up with an idea of, you know something, I'm not going to sign to whatever the big record label is at the time. I'm going to actually create my own record label without actually having any record label experience.
Well, when you read the book, and I talk about it in the book, how I fell into it. You know, my whole goals were to be a DJ on the radio, a great promoter like Al Heyman. That was my whole thing. You know, that's what I wanted to be. You know, and you know, I was bringing down hip hop artists from T. La Rock to you name it, Jekyll and Hyde, Mantronics. I brought all these different guys down here, and I was bringing hip hop down. And I was promoting it at skating rinks and high school dances and things like that. So, you know, I ended up, you know, as a DJ, you know, as a mobile DJ, you know, we would create different dances, and I talk about it in the book. And one dance we created was Throw the D. And at the time, I brought down 2 Live Crew. I said, we need to do a song. You guys do a song based on this dance here. And they eventually did the song. Nobody wanted to put it out. So I then made it my point of saying, okay, I like the song. You know, I break records every week here in Miami, you know, and I put my money behind it. So I kind of got in the music business by default. It wasn't a thing of me wanting to be in the business. I basically got in the business by default.
I mean, the story kind of sounds similar to the Eazy-E story when you say it like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in terms of someone who's not really trying to be a rapper, trying to be in a hip hop group, but sort of ends up in a hip hop group. And even though you weren't really the rapper, you were like the biggest personality in the group.
Yeah, I didn't want to be in the group either. You know, once I put when you read the book, once I put the record out, you know, once I put the album out, you know, it was a single at that period of time, and then I started distributing it myself. I started taking it to flea markets. I started taking it to different places, and I started sending out to different record pools that I was involved in, you know, and getting records. And before you know it, you know, I had to tell, you know, which I talk about in the book, I had to tell the distributors. The distributor guys taught me how to distribute the music, and then I wanted my money from that, and then I was going to be done with the music business, hoping that would help springboard their career into possibly getting a better deal. And then, you know, the distributors told me I had to get them another record in order to get my money from the first record. So I eventually ended up in the business, you know, and at that period of time, I had no goals of wanting to be an artist on the a part of the group, you know, and eventually, you know, I ended up in the group because now that I've changed, the sound and the production and the style of the group, the group wanted me, Mr. Mix wanted me to be a part of it, doing what I do as a DJ in Miami on the shows. And so before you know it, long story short, I ended up in the group, and I ended up being the spokesperson of the group and owning the record company as well.
I remember as a hip hop fan, during the time of like Move Something and We Want Some Pussy, like me and my friends had the cassette and we were listening to it. But it was really just like the hip hop kids were listening to it, and there weren't a lot of hip hop kids. Hip hop was still really like an underground kind of thing. It wasn't really played on the radio. So the kids who were sort of in on it were fucking with it. But then once Me So Horny came out and all the attention from the authorities, that's when I think that Two Live Crew really just got blown up. Would that be accurate?
Well, yes, because, once we start, we did Throw the Dick, the song, and then eventually we got a little heat from that. That's when I created the parental advisory sticker, something people don't know, because that hasn't been written about. And I basically created that sticker because parents were complaining that the kids were buying the adult version of the songs, which I had no intentions of kids purchasing. So I created the sticker, told my salespeople to tell the record stores, hey, look, this one with the sticker is the adult version, and the one without the sticker is the clean version. And just like you said, it was no radio play. Everything was mainly underground. Me living in a tourist destination, which is Miami, when people would come down on spring break, college students, they would be playing in the clubs, and then those college students would then take the music back to wherever they live at, as well as their universities, and that's how the music basically spread it around the country.
That's pretty crazy about how you actually created the parental advisory sticker. So you actually designed that? You got together with a designer and actually made the black and white logo?
Yes.
Okay. Was there any sort of issue with everyone else using it? Because that's still, I think, used today.
Yes, it's
by
used,
every label, pretty much.
It's used right now today. I mean, the RIAA adapted it, and they acted like they tried to take a little bit of ownership of it. But again, I should have patented it. And then, I had no idea that it would be as big as it is right now, because my whole thing was not allowing kids to get the music. And I came up with the idea because it was a similar sticker that they use in the movie theaters, where they have a NC-17, the rating system. So I kind of took the idea from the rating system of the movie theaters and created the parental advisory sticker, letting stores know that these songs right here contain adult lyrics.